boss battles. There's nothing better than a good boss battle. I don't know why, but I've always liked boss battles. There's just something about them that I really like. Part of why I love the classic Sonic games so much is because of how easily you can cheese a bunch of the bosses. There's nothing more satisfying than killing a boss a couple seconds into the battle because you're able to get a bunch of hits on him early on. While you can't cheese every single boss in the classic Sonic games, you can cheese a lot of them, and that's where I find a ton of enjoyment in the games. It's not like every boss is the same either. Even in the first game when you're fighting Eggman in his ship the whole time, there's still a bunch of unique and creative ideas being thrown around. Take a look at Starlight Zone for example. You have the option of either waiting to get launched up by the spikes Eggman drops, or by simply launching them back up at him instead. Now compare this to Mario, where every boss battle boils down to, yeah, just hit him 3 times on the head and you win. When you look at New Super Mario Bros. Wii, every boss can be beaten in like 3 hits, barring the final fight with Bowser. I do like Iggy's battle because of the big chain chomp, but really it's not all that difficult. I think my favorite one is Lemmy's battle. Not only do you have to watch out for the balls he's throwing at you, but you also have to keep in mind that the floor is ice. The hardest one by far though is Ludwig's castle. You have to jump from platform to platform while he's up in the air hurling stuff at you, plus the background is moving around. It can be really disorientating. It's definitely the hardest castle out of the whole game. When you get to 3D Mario though, now that's when the levels start getting good. When you play Super Mario Galaxy, there's this rock monster that throws rocks at you, and the way you defeat him is by swinging these black boos at him that come from the rocks he throws at you. It's not an overly hard battle, but it is very, very fun. However, if we are bringing up 3D bosses, then we gotta talk about Sonic. The amount of good boss battles in the 3D Sonic games is endless. You have the Titans from Sonic Frontiers, Metal Overlord from Shadow Generations. Take a look at the Solaris battle from Sonic 06. You can play as Sonic, Silver, and Shadow in their super forms. In Sonic Colors, the final battle consists of you running towards Eggman, and every time you land a hit on him, the music slowly begins to build up. You hear more and more instruments coming in, the music begins to swell, and you get this rush of adrenaline in you. Every hit you land means something more. Every attack you dodge makes you more and more tense. Say what you want about the game, but this is by far one of the best boss battles in the whole franchise. Pokemon boss battles are also pretty good. When you look at the older games, there's not much that they could do visually, so what they lack in visuals, they make up for in music. Take a look at the Gen 5 battle with Reshiram and Zekrom. After you interact with the Pokemon, you get hit with this. Just a great piece of music. When you look at the newer games, you're able to do a whole lot more now because of how far the technology has come. In Pokemon Sword, spoilers for Pokemon Sword by the way, in Pokemon Sword, during the final battle, you fight alongside both the legendary Pokemon from the games, which is something pretty cool when you think about it. Imagine going back to the Gen 4 games and fighting a super powerful Giratina against both Dialga and Palkia. When we're talking about Giratina, I want to talk about perhaps the most deceptive boss battle in all Pokemon history, okay? To fight Giratina in the game, you first have to battle Volo, who has a full team of 6 different Pokemon. Once you beat him, you get to fight Giratina. Now keep in mind that your team is going to be pretty weak from battling Volo, so now you have to fight Giratina with whatever you have left. Then, once you finally beat him, when you think it's over, he falls back and then he goes nuh-uh and then kills you all over again. It's a very hard boss battle, but it's also very, very rewarding once you beat it. Speaking of boss battles, Cuphead, the DLC. What the heck? Cuphead is pretty fun, but the DLC, oh, the DLC. 90% of these battles just boil down to the enemies throwing tons and tons of stuff at you until you reach their second form. Now, I haven't played the rest of the game in a while, but I really don't remember the bosses throwing this many things at you. Something I do like about Cuphead is how it's comprised of almost entirely boss battles. Some of these are really well designed and fair and balanced, except the robot boss for some reason. Fun fact, when Studio MDHR was making this game, the developers forgot to make the boss beatable. The art direction for this game has been talked about to death, along with how good the music is and how difficult the levels can be. There's really not much else I can say about this game, other than the bug battle in the DLC is unnecessarily hard. Whose idea was it to have these web bombs hanging down? Who thought this was a good idea? I am 99% sure an evil monkey made this level. See, that's what the M stands for.